Good morning, everybody, again. It is now 10 o'clock, and it's, oh my gosh, I've got the date. Happy day after Valentine's Day. It's February 15th, and this is IT in 10. Today we're going to be talking about pathways and certifications and the questions that not only career coaches but WIOA candidates themselves should be asking training providers as they embark upon an ITA and the certification process. This is kind of the culmination of what we've been talking about here in these first 7 episodes for these first couple of months. We've talked about each step along the way and the certifications that drive individual pieces of a career. Now we're just going to kind of wrap that all up and tie it up with a bow and deal with this all at once. Of course, the first question you need to be asking yourself is, what level are you as a candidate? What level is the candidate that's in front of you? And from the get-go, we've always talked about this in terms of 3 levels. The entry-level IT candidate, somebody that's new to the industry; a mid-level candidate, somebody with maybe 3 to 5 years worth of experience; and then senior level, somebody who's ready to make the move up to management. Of course, entry level, CompTIA has a ton of great certifications that help create experience, not create experience, but certainly establish competence at this level. The A+, the Net Plus, Security Plus is certainly one of them. Cisco offers their CCENT program. ITIL, understanding the basics of how to run a help desk. At the mid-level, when we talk about somebody with 3 to 5 years of experience in that mid-range, Microsoft, the MCSA, Microsoft Certified Solutions Associate, or Cisco, the full CCNA routing and switching discipline, usually Cisco Certified Network Associate, is something you'd see at the mid-level. And what's the difference between these? I would say if you're a candidate that's done help desk work for a couple of years, really an A+ isn't going to help you take the next step in your career, whereas an MCSA might, whereas a full CCNA might. And you'll see a lot of crossover here in training plans that are put together at the entry and mid-level. The big question is, are you establishing competence, or are you moving forward to the next level? And then at the senior end of things, we've talked about the management level certifications like PMP, Project Management Professional, or Certified Business Analysis Professional. Microsoft and Cisco both offer programs for senior level candidates: the Microsoft Certified Solutions Expert, MCSE, and the Cisco Certified Network Professional across their various disciplines, CCNP. As we've said from the get-go, when you get to this level, and I've threatened to make t-shirts, I think we're finally going to do that now, these senior level credentials validate experience as opposed to the entry level credentials that establish competence. If you're at this level and you don't have the experience requisite to sit the exams, to sit the classes, it's not going to help you move forward in your job path. And some certifications like PMP specifically, they require you to have a certain amount of experience in managing and overseeing projects in order to qualify for the exam. T-shirts available at your local WIOA office. The second question you want to ask, where's the credential coming from? And what I mean by this is credentials tend to fall into one of 3 categories. You have some that are backed by local or national trade groups or trade associations. A good example of this is CompTIA, headquartered here in the Chicago suburbs, internationally recognized IT trade association that has established these certifications as a way to further the industry. The Project Management Institute and their PMP certification. The Project Management Institute is it's an internationally recognized trade association that's looking to further the industry. ISC Squared, the International Information Security Systems Certification Consortium, a large international trade group that's looking to further the industry by creating a set of certifications related to IT security specifically. The second broad category are the vendor-backed certifications, and this is where you do see CCNA or MCSE. Microsoft, Cisco certainly are 2 of the more popular vendor-backed certifications here within Cook County. Other ones that you'll hear about, Red Hat certainly has a fair amount of traction here, and there are other vendors that offer certification programs as well. I'm just going to highlight 2 of these here. Google, for enterprise level organizations that are moving to cloud drives, to the Google Drive, they offer a set of certification programs. They're vendor-backed certifications. Amazon as well not on how to buy and sell products on Amazon, but rapidly Amazon is becoming one of the biggest providers of cloud-based services. So they have their AWS, Amazon Web Services certification program. Okay, so the thing to bear in mind here is because it's backed by a vendor, the vendor has a financial interest in furthering the technologies. There's a reason that these certifications tend to rotate so quickly, and it's because Microsoft is going to release a new version of Windows, or Cisco is going to upgrade their equipment, or Red Hat is going to increase their specifications to run their software. The third one, I've called it here third-party certifications. You can certainly call it vendor-neutral certifications. These ones that aren't necessarily backed by a vendor or a trade association, and it's not to say that they don't have value, but this is a category you do have to be careful with. The Agile certification, starting to get a lot of traction here. We talked about it in an earlier episode of IT in 10. You know, do a quick Google search and you're going to find 7 or 8 different certifying bodies for Agile. PMI, the Project Management Institute, actually has an Agile certification. The Scrum Alliance, the Scaled Agile Academy, the Agile Certification Institute. There is no single unified body that's saying, hey, if you do these things, you're going to be certified in Agile. Six Sigma, another good example of that, and we talked about that in an earlier episode of IT in 10. The Six Sigma standards came out of Motorola, but it's not like Motorola is enforcing who's Six Sigma certified and who isn't, or who's a Six Sigma green belt and who isn't. You'll see local colleges offer this a lot. You'll see individual consultants offer a Six Sigma certification. There are some trade associations that offer it. American Society for Quality out of Milwaukee is one that comes to mind immediately. But this is a category by and large that you do kind of have to be careful with. There's nothing to prevent me, we were laughing here in the office yesterday, of going out and hanging out a shingle and creating Dave's House of Agile certifications. There is no overseeing body that's going to come to me later on and say, well, your credential is not valid. And when you get into this third-party area, a question you want to make sure candidates are asking is, okay, well, who's backing this credential? What kind of traction does it have in the marketplace? Another big question you'll want to ask is, of course, how do I receive the credential? What are the mechanics of that? What are the components of the certification? Is it a test? A plus, to receive the full A plus credential, you have to take 2 separate exams that are 90 minutes apiece. The PMI has a long application that you have to fill out, and you have to meet certain guidelines and take a certain amount of training to be eligible to sit for the exam. Six Sigma certifications, and we talked about these vendor-neutral certifications earlier, they're all over the map. Some people require a test. Some people require a certain amount of classroom time and a project to demonstrate competency. If you're going to a training provider for this, it's important that the candidate understand what they need to do to receive the credential. It's not always a single exam given on a single day. And of course, that does get us to the training providers. Who is preparing you for the certification? Are they a partner with the certifying body? And what I mean by this is all of the major trade groups and vendors have some sort of partner program. The Project Management Institute has what's called their Registered Education Provider Program. And as a matter of fact, in order to sit for the PMI or the PMP exam, you need to take a class from a registered education provider. So that's a question that your candidates need to be asking of their training provider. Cisco, Microsoft, CompTIA all offer their own spin on how to approve materials, how to make sure the curriculum meets their standards, make sure their instructors are certified. I see Margot's question here about Scrum, and that's something, yeah, absolutely. Because there's no single unified body that does Scrum, because there are multiple bodies that are offering Scrum. It's important to make sure that whoever you're receiving the exam through, hey, have they partnered with that body? Are the educational materials valid to the certification that you're going to be receiving? Of course, some other basic questions when you ask about who's preparing you for the certification. Hey, who's the instructor? What materials are being used? A good point here is because so many of these WIOA-approved programs are boot camp style, where you're taking a 40-hour class and receiving a lot of information. some sort of support outside of the classroom is going to be critical to success, and particularly true for entry-level candidates who are new or have limited experience in the IT field. I'm just rattling off a couple that I could think of offhand. CompTIA actually offers an online set of computer-based training modules called their Cert Master. So it helps you focus your efforts. It figures out where your deficiencies are if you're trying to pass a CompTIA certification, and it gives you the information you need to get through the exam. CBT Nuggets, another popular one, lynda.com, Udemy. If you go online, there's a ton of materials out there and programs out there and self-tests out there that can help you prepare for the exam. I think it's important that the training providers have a hand in that as well, that because these classes are fast, because they're quick, and you need to be able to provide support to the candidates as they continue to prepare for the test, because it's not just sit a 40-hour class and then take the exam the next day. It's usually sit a 40-hour class and then do some outside preparation for the exam and then finally sit for the certification. And of course, the obvious question, what's the pass rate? What's the first-time pass rate for your exam? If you've got a WIOA candidate coming in, or you are a WIOA candidate, you need to be asking your training provider that question. Hey, of the people that took the A+ exam here in the last year, what was the first-time pass rate? And if they dodge that question or say they don't know, that's information you need to make an informed choice. I'd be suspicious. Obviously you want to be concerned about unusually low pass rates, but I think you also want to be suspicious of unusually high pass rates. And this is particularly true with some of those vendor-neutral certifications we were talking about before. You want to make sure that the credential is valid in the marketplace, and if somebody says to you, well, we have a 100% pass rate on our Agile program or our Six Sigma program, I'd be a little suspicious that what you've got here is less of a certification program and more of a diploma mill, a certification mill. Really what we're talking about at the end of the day is stewardship of this money. Take the comparison shopping piece seriously. Ask to sit in on part of a class. Boot camps aren't suited for everybody, so when we talk about materials for use to prepare for the exam outside of the classroom, that's critical. And put them down in a spreadsheet. I wish, when we throw out these money totals for ITAs, we're talking about thousands of dollars, $6,000 to $10,000 plus. And I think sometimes WIOA career coaches and candidates both forget that that's a pretty good pile of money, to the extent that I wish that they had hand that to somebody in cash and say, okay, now take this to your training provider. Because if you saw a stack of bills there, if you saw a stack of $10,000, I think some of us might ask some of these more probing questions about the level of training you're receiving, the quality of the training, the quality of the materials, all of these questions we've been talking about today. We need to be good stewards of the money. Just want to make sure I didn't miss any questions here real quick. And while we're at it, just a quick plug for the IT Sector Center now has a group on LinkedIn, and I know many of you have already joined. That's the link right there. But if you go to LinkedIn and search for IT Sector Center, it should come in. If you want to join the group, send me an email or network with me on LinkedIn. What we're posting here is information for WIOA candidates, information about jobs, information for career coaches as well. This will become the home for all of the IT in 10 replays, including this one as soon as I get it up and posted. That about covers things for today. Our next episode is going to be in 2 weeks. My goodness, it's March already, Wednesday, March 1st at 10 o'clock. We'll be talking about the PMP application process specifically. I would say probably the #1 phone call I get from candidates and coaches alike is, how do I complete the application for PMP? How do I make sure that I've given them all the information? And we're going to cover that and hopefully have a takeaway. We'll have a nice little spreadsheet you can take away, share with your candidates as they prepare for the application. Don't see any more questions in the chat window. I'd like to thank everybody for attending today. And like I said, go ahead and join the LinkedIn group, and we'll have this posted later this afternoon. Thanks, everybody.